The arena of the Colosseum, sport or brutality? In the heart of Rome stands one of history's most iconic monuments, the Colosseum. This grand amphitheater, a symbol of the Roman Empire, was not just an architectural marvel but also the stage for brutal spectacles that entertained thousands of spectators. But what did these events truly represent? Were they sports in the modern sense, or were they sheer brutality? Let's explore the reality of the Colosseum's arena, where competition, entertainment, and extreme violence intertwine. The Colosseum, an unmatched masterpiece built between 70 and 80 AD under Emperor Vespasian and inaugurated by Titus, the Colosseum could hold up to 50,000 spectators. It hosted all kinds of spectacles, gladiatorial combat, hunts featuring exotic animals, and public executions. The arena was a place where the power of Rome was celebrated, and every event was designed to glorify the emperor and reinforce control over the population. The amphitheater was equipped with an ingenious underground system, known as the hypogeum, which allowed for gladiators and animals to appear suddenly, enhancing the dramatic effect. This made the spectacles even more exciting and unpredictable, keeping the audience in constant anticipation. Gladiators, athletes or victims? Gladiators were the stars of the arena. Some were slaves, prisoners of war, or convicted criminals, but there were also free men who chose to fight for glory and wealth. They trained in specialized schools, such as the famous Ludus Magnus, and often gained great fame among the public. However, their lives were marked by violence. The battles were fierce and often lethal, with their fate ultimately decided by the emperor or the crowd. There were different types of gladiators, each with distinct armor and fighting styles. The murmillo, armed with a gladius and shield, frequently faced the retirius, who fought with a net and trident, creating spectacular contrasts in combat. Their training was grueling, and only the best survived long enough to become legends of the arena. The hunt for beasts, spectacle or massacre? One of the most spectacular and gruesome events of the Colosseum was the venatio, the hunt of wild animals. Tigers, lions, elephants, and even crocodiles were imported from all over the empire and released into the arena to face gladiators or armed hunters. It was a demonstration of power, but also a brutal slaughter of exotic creatures, many of which were driven to near extinction due to Rome's demand for such spectacles. The Venatians had a strong symbolic component. They demonstrated Rome's dominance over nature and other peoples. The animals were transported under extreme conditions and often arrived weakened at the arena, where they were destined for a brutal death. Public executions, justice or horror? The Colosseum also served as a stage for spectacular executions. Condemned prisoners were killed in extremely gruesome ways, often forced to fight each other or left to be devoured by wild beasts. For the Roman public, these scenes were not mere punishments but an integral part of the entertainment. Executions took various forms. Some prisoners were crucified in the arena, while others were dressed in animal skins and torn apart by ferocious beasts in a macabre reenactment of myths and legends. Emperors used these executions to assert their authority and send a message of terror to Rome's enemies. The social role of the arena for Romans, the Colosseum was not just a place of entertainment but also a political and social tool. The shows were free and served to distract the population from everyday problems, embodying the concept of panem et circenses, bread and circuses. This allowed emperors to maintain control over the masses by offering them intense emotions and controlled violence. Additionally, the spectacles served as celebrations of military victories. After major conquests, games were organized in honor of the victorious emperor, during which battles with gladiators and prisoners of war were reenacted. Sport or brutality? On one hand, Colosseum events had elements that resemble modern sports, such as skill, training, and competition. On the other hand, they were displays of extreme violence. The key difference from today's sports lies in the lack of rules designed to protect participants. In the arena, death was often part of the spectacle. Some historians suggest that gladiators were comparable to today's professional athletes since they were trained with advanced techniques and enjoyed great fame. However, their participation was not always voluntary, and the risk of death was real and constant. Conclusion: the Colosseum was a place of entertainment, but also of suffering and death. The fights and executions were propaganda tools that showcased Rome's power, keeping the population distracted and submissive. Today, we see it as an architectural and historical masterpiece, but the debate remains: was what happened in the arena a sport or sheer brutality? Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between, in an era where the line between spectacle and violence was razor thin. Regardless of interpretation, The Colosseum continues to exert a timeless fascination, reminding us of an age when life and death intertwined under the gaze of an audience hungry for intense emotions. Its legacy compels us to reflect on how the concept of entertainment has evolved over the centuries and how much we can still learn from Rome's history.